my voice. But I got it back right on time. Right on time. So I could at least come here and do my show today. I wish you guys the merriest of holidays and the most fun that you can have with your family and friends. And if you don't have family or friends, that sucks, but we can still make it work. And if you guys want to be my family and my friend, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Sports at the Half. Every Monday at 5 p.m., we talk about the best, the worst, the weirdest, the strangest, the most awkward stuff in sports. And even though the Jets lost yesterday, I know people say there's no such thing as like a moral victory. Because if you don't have a W in the win column, then it doesn't really count. But the Jets actually played really well yesterday. And they actually it's what the Jets did yesterday, losing 17-16 to the New England Patriots, is more than I thought they were actually going to do. The Giants actually won yesterday. The Giants won yesterday. The Jets lost, but the Giants won. And that's one of those things that I can live with. And it's sad, too, because I think Rex Ryan is an amazing head coach. And the fact that everyone loves him so much means that I have to play this.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Depression. And so if you're a New York sports fan, we've been talking about this for the past couple of weeks already. And the question is, what's going to happen next? How is the other shoe? Where's the other shoe that's supposed to drop from? I thought we only had 2 feet. Apparently in New York sports, we have like 15 feet. And so that means the Brooklyn Nets are not so good, even though they won. That means the Knicks will hurt your heart. And you wonder about their future. And the thing about worrying about the Knicks' future is that we thought we had Carmelo Anthony. But I don't know if we were actually able to discuss this on the air. But Carmelo Anthony came out with like a statement a while back and was talking about his decision to either re-sign with the Knicks or go somewhere else. He had his choice of he had options. Several options, actually. Let's start with the Knicks. This is what happens with this New York Knicks team. We have some of the most talented players in the world that want to come here and play with us or for us. And for some reason, we just can't capitalize on their talent and their success and their abilities. And you kind of feel bad because then you look at a team like the Dallas Mavericks. And we had Tyson Chandler leave. We were like shutting Tyson Chandler down last season, the past couple of seasons. Oh, he's not that good. Oh, what can he really do? How can he help us? And then he goes to Dallas like everyone else does. They go somewhere else and they excel. But when they come here to New York, this New York Knicks team, I feel like somebody put a hex on us. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. But if you do or if you don't, either way, it doesn't matter. We can still discuss it. The phone number to call in is 212-650-6903. Again, that's 212-650-6903. I was thinking about not doing this show today. Not because I didn't want to. I always love coming and talking to you guys. But just because I sound like this. So if you guys are listening and maybe you've called before or you've never called before, either way, I may need your assistance today because my voice is shot. I'm getting better, but I'm not happy about the stuff that's going on. The only bright spot, I was actually just talking to one of my fellow hosts here, and we were talking about how much fun Odell Beckham Jr. is. And that's where I want to start the show, because we can complain. We're gonna start with we're gonna move around. We're gonna move around all show. We have 1 hour, and we're gonna be here. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be everywhere. But there's several things we have to talk about. And if you're a Giants fan like I am, then starting the season 0-4, just like last year when we started 0-6. I missed the playoffs again, which I did not want to do. The only bright spot for me, and for you probably too, is the fact that we have Odell Beckham Jr. He's like, don't want to call him a martyr because he's not killing himself for us, but he's so amazing. And I remember before the season started, if you guys were here as well, or maybe you weren't, so let me tell you about it. Before the season started, Odell Beckham Jr. was our first round draft pick, right? So we were all excited. And then he had the hamstring injury. He missed a lot of the preseason. He missed the first couple of games of the season. And it's like, well, they're telling us this guy is really good, but we haven't really seen him, so we have no idea. And as soon as he came on the scene, as soon as Odell Beckham Jr. came on the scene, he lit it up. He lit the whole scene up. So this is a Giants team. Over the past couple of years, we've been worried about this offensive line. We had some injuries. We've had some retirements. That thing that kept us so solid and so glued together was sort of falling apart. And then the question is, what do you expect Eli Manning to do? And we all know Eli Manning is he's a great quarterback. But if he doesn't have a solid offensive line and, a solid running game as well, then where are we supposed to find space for anything to happen? And I'll give Eli Manning this. Even with all the interceptions that he's thrown over the past couple of years, several years actually, I remember I always used to call him consistently inconsistent. You never know you never know where you're going with him sometimes. He'll have a game, he'll throw for 391 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Or he'll have a game where he throws 5 interceptions, and then it's like, oh my, Eli, I'm trying to have your back for this one. And that's a little bit how I feel about Geno Smith. We'll talk about that a little later. But the Giants now have reeled off 3 straight wins. They're now 6-9, which is not enough to go anywhere or do anything for the postseason. But that's what I mean when there's like a bright spot. Like you just see something coming. And that's part of what I was saying about Eli Manning. Even though he's consistently inconsistent, he'll have some really great games. And when he loves a wide receiver or a tight end, we can make anything happen. Odell Beckham Jr. is like the future of this team, which kind of makes sense because Eli Manning's been in the league for several years now. And the question is, how long is he going to stay around? And I'll give Eli Manning this credit. He might get sacked, he might throw interceptions, but he does not miss a game. I wonder what kind of toll that takes on your body when you just keep coming. Oh, another interesting thing. Like I said today, listen, it's almost the end of the year. 2014 is almost over. Me and you, yes, me and you, we're going to talk. Shout out to everyone who's listening on WHCR 90.3 FM, the official voice of Harlem. Shout out to everyone who's watching online. www.whcr.org. And you can actually watch us live here in the studio. I'm waving as we speak to the people who are actually watching. And, oh, okay. Well, let me turn my body this way so I can look good. Okay, doesn't matter. Eli Manning doesn't miss a game, but when he finds a wide receiver or a tight end that he likes, that he can trust, Eli Manning can do anything. And the fact that Odell Beckham Jr. is on this team gives me a lot of hope for our future. Heal the world. Make it a better place. That's how I feel when I look at this team now. Because it's not just Odell Beckham Jr. Andre Williams, by the way, is running the ball like a G. He runs this. Andre Williams is not the same size as Brandon Jacobs, but he runs with the same sort of passion and the same sort of aggression, with the same force that you would need to believe in someone. That's what this Giants team is doing. And it's different too, because we look at the Jets, we look at the Giants. The Jets are literally falling apart at the seams. At the seams, they're falling apart. Rex Ryan, and we've talked about this over the past couple of weeks. Rex Ryan is not the same head coach he was when he first got here a couple years ago. He first got here, he was like, oh, we winning championships. We got the Super Bowl. I'm not here to kiss Bill Belichick's rings. And people didn't like that. But it's that sort of bravado that I always liked. He hasn't been the same person, especially the past 2 seasons. And this year, he just sounds like a man that's defeated. Everyone's calling for his job. We're going to miss him when he's gone. I have to... Listen, I'm going to send a copy of the show to myself. We're going to miss Rex Ryan when he's gone. And you know what, too? I listen to a lot of sports radio myself. Technically, all I listen to is sports. Well, for the most part, all I listen to is sports radio. So I want to give a couple of shout outs. Shout out to Ryan Lundberg. I'm sorry, Robin. He's going to kill me. Shout out to Robin Lundberg. He has a show on ESPN radio every morning from 4 to 6 a.m. And sometimes I'm up for it. Sometimes I'm sleeping. Rarely am I sleeping. Or I'm in and out of sleep, trying to sleep. But I always download his podcast. And I listen to his show all the time. Pretty much every day. I haven't missed a show in like 6 months or something. At least. But he's so insightful. And you have to think, what's going to happen to this Jets team? And I remember him saying, too, like, if you think of certain franchises, you can see the face of the franchise. You think about the Seattle Seahawks. You see Marshawn Lynch. You see Russell Wilson. You see Richard Sherman. Cool. You look at the Giants. And for a while, we've had so many different faces. It was the defense. Remember, Justin Tuck, Michael Strahan, OCU Manura, Eli Manning, Victor Cruz, Plaxico Burress. We've had so many names that have come through here and have helped us to win the Super Bowl in 2007 and in 2011. This is not a one-man army. But you have a face to your franchise. If you think about the face of the franchise for the New York Jets, who do you see? Rex Ryan. And that's no fault of his own. I'm not saying that to make him feel bad or anything. I'm sure he probably feels terrible. But we're not hanging our hats on Mark Sanchez or Tim Tebow or Geno Smith or Michael Vick. Percy Harvin, Eric Decker. Those are the names that you think of when you see. And that was the craziest part too. And this is why I wanted to give props to Ryan Lumber, because he was the first. I mean, I knew it, but it's always different when you have someone actually say it. And then you're like, oh, yeah, that's totally true. I've been in Manhattan, and I've seen billboards and posters for the New York Jets. And like I said, Geno Smith was not the face on the poster. It was Rex Ryan. And it's going to be really unfortunate because everyone's going to look back on this time and say, oh, Rex Ryan really didn't do his job. He wasn't that good in the first place. But there's no other reason why we talk about this team. Chad Pennington. I mean, let's take it back a little bit if y'all want to. Herm Edwards was one of my favorite coaches. I remember doing this show, we're talking about Eric Mangini. We were calling him Mangenius. Where is he now? There's something really weird going on around this place. Something really weird. And it's unfortunate that he's going to have to suffer for it. He's going to get another head coaching job. Or if he doesn't get a head coaching job, he's going to get a defensive coordinator job, which is what he was when he was in Baltimore. And we all thought he was amazing then. He lost all that weight. He lost all the bravado. Everyone beat him down. And now we're talking, not even we. I'm talking about him like he's dead. He's about to be, not dead. Okay, not dead. But, just about to be out. So who's going to come in next? I was reading an article earlier today that the Jets were actually trying to hire, the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, was actually trying to hire former Houston Texans and Washington Redskins general manager, Charlie Casserly, as a consultant, so he can decide what to do, what's next with the team. And I've loved Charlie Casserly for years, by the way. I don't know if you guys watch, Sundays, football Sunday, please. Don't ask me to go to the mall. We're not going to the movies. We're not going shopping. No. I'm staying home and I'm watching football all day, Sunday, during football season. That was me snapping. That was the whole day. 1 o'clock games, 4 o'clock games, Sunday night football. That's what I do on my Sundays. But before the games actually start, you always have the pregame stuff. So you can hit up ESPN or NFL Network or CBS or Fox. And I always loved Charlie Casserly's take, his insight on sports on Sunday. So I always used to make sure that I was in front of the TV watching CBS so I could check out Charlie Casserly's spot. So I could learn things. It's like if you're a basketball fan. Okay, this is exactly how I would compare it. If you're a basketball fan and you're watching a game and you know that Hubie Brown is calling it, you're going to stick around. You're going to learn so much about the game. Isn't that what all this is, a game? It's a game for us. It's like a hobby for, not even a hobby. It's work for me, frankly. I was just at Madison Square Garden the other night, checking out some college basketball. It's not just a game. It's work. But it's work that I love to do. You hear that when you hear Hubie Brown call a game or tell you anything about anything. Hubie Brown could describe to me dinosaurs, and I would totally listen to it. He could talk about fungus. Hubie Brown could tell me about the history of fungus, and I'd be like, oh, what? Yeah, see, my voice is still. Anyway, like I said before, if you guys want to call in, the number is 212-650-6903. Again, that's 212-650-6903. There's certain people that you just kind of trust them. Hubie Brown is one of them. And for me, as far as football goes, it's not just Adam Schefter or Mortensen. It's not just that. Charlie Casserly is actually amazing. And the fact that the Jets are going through everything they're going through, they don't know who their quarterback is going to be. Is it Geno Smith? Are they going to bring Michael Vick back in? Or are they going to pick up someone else in the draft? Are they trying to tank this season so they can get a top pick? Either Jameis Winston or Mariota. I mean, there's so many options. But if you tell me that you're bringing Charlie Casserly in and he's going to help make a good decision for this team, for this franchise, then I'm with it. The Jets have missed the playoffs for the 4th straight season. Rex Ryan is pretty much out of the door. I'm really sad about that. This is one of those things, too, for me. I know people say you're supposed to have, like, a specific team, and you're supposed to stick with that team, and if you're a fan of that team, you can't go anywhere else, and you're not supposed to do... man, please. Another reason why I love Ryan Lundberg, because he puts it in great perspective. You're not in charge of my fandom. You can't tell me who I can and can't be a fan of. Even when I was younger, I remember being in late elementary school, junior high school. I always loved Shaquille O'Neal. Always. Orlando days. We could move it. We could go the whole span. And I was always a Knicks fan. But I love Shaquille O'Neal. I loved Kobe Bryant. I loved Kevin Garnett in Minnesota. Nobody goes to Minnesota. Have you ever been to Minnesota? I've been to New Mexico, but I've never been to Minnesota. But there's certain players that their personality sort of shines through, and their talent, not even personality sometimes, because honestly these days, I don't really like KG. He's pretty mean. I don't know if he's a nice person or not. I've met him a couple times. I've seen him play several times. Been able to interview him. But I followed his career because I saw how talented he was. And that was another thing too, even if you look at what's his name? Oh, his name is escaping me. I'll figure it out and I'll bring it back around. The kid that just came from Minnesota that's now in Cleveland. Kevin Love. There we go. You look at a guy like Kevin Love and you feel like he's going to have the same future or past or whatever as Kevin Garnett playing in Minnesota with not enough pieces around you. Wasting all your talent. Wasting all your talent, the best years of your life, giving it up for a franchise who's not going to give it up for you. So I was happy to see him go to Cleveland and play with LeBron James. And they haven't necessarily had the best start, but that's all it is. It's just the start. We're not at the middle. We're not at the end. It's just the start. I remember watching LeBron James play his first NBA game. I know exactly where I was when LeBron James played his first game. I don't know where the guy is that I was talking to at the time, but I don't care. I don't know what he's up to. I don't know what he's doing, but I watched it with him. I remember that. There's certain things that just stay with you when you know that there's just something so special about the person that you're looking at. And not just because they can run and they can jump and whatever. That's a lot of it, but there's certain things that you just can't get past. even if you want to. And I realized that too when I was younger, growing up as a Knicks fan. I hated Michael Jordan. I had so much hate for Michael Jordan. And it's one of those things, everyone always says hindsight is 20/20. Jeez, I wish I had hindsight when hindsight was hindsight. I spent so much time hating him that I didn't necessarily appreciate him for everything that he's done for this game. Also, the way I felt about the San Antonio Spurs and Tim Duncan. I remember in high school, I hated Tim Duncan. I liked Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker more than I liked Tim Duncan. I couldn't stand him. And that's one of those things, I guess the older you get, maybe the more you see about certain things. So then the question was, hate him for what? He didn't do anything to me. Why would I hate him? He's amazing. He's a Hall of Famer. Tim Duncan is first ballot Hall of Fame. Why is it every time that I see him, I can't stand it? Why? Why am I not appreciating what it is that I'm seeing in him? I slowly changed my mind. It took a while, What did they say? They didn't build Rome in a day. I slowly changed my mind because I realized that the only person that's getting hurt by this is me. I'm the only one that's mad. I'm the only one that's upset. Upset about what? Someone being so talented and so amazing. Tim Duncan, fundamentals. That's what everyone says about Tim Duncan. Fundamental. Look, who are the reigning champions in the NBA? The team that everyone counted out. The team that everyone kind of wrote off. The team that just kept pushing. They pushed. I never hated Greg Popovich, though, I'll say that much. He's annoying now, though, because of his one-word answers and stuff and press conferences and the way he deals with media. And as a member of the media, it's annoying when you don't get the answers that you want. But frankly, what does he have to say? And that's another thing. The Spurs don't care. You look at the New York Jets, they care about everything that everyone says about them all the time. Everywhere you go, they care. The Giants don't care. Neither do the Patriots. Neither does Tom Brady or Bill Belichick. They're like, do we got rings? Do we got rings? Rings. We got rings. They don't even care. Because it's not about anybody else. And that's like a lesson in life. And it's annoying when it's part of your job. This is part of my job. But, we watch these games like people don't practice every day. Like people aren't hoisting up shots every day. Or practicing one-handed catches in the end zone. Or putting their bodies on the line. I mean, Victor Cruz went up for a touchdown in the back of the end zone and came down with a torn patella tendon in his knee, which is going to take him at least a year to heal from. I skinned my knee the other day. That hurt. That hurt. I lost my voice. I was not going to miss today's show, honestly. Even if I sounded worse than I do now, I was not going to miss today's show. I only have 2 shows left before the end of the year. Oh, please. I'm going to be on air with y'all. Because I want to spend my time with you guys. People risk literally life and limb for this that we call a game. That for them is work. You don't just wake up in the morning and hit